Hi, my name is Jeff H. Sipe, founder and interview coach at practiceinterviews.com. And yes, we do offer that practice interview service. In today's video, I want to focus on job interview frameworks. And over the last couple of years, I have learned a ton about how to handle frameworks, how to work with clients and frameworks in these interviews. And I'm hoping that this at a high level encapsulates what you're really going to need to focus on for success. And so we're going to focus on what frameworks are, why we use frameworks, when to use frameworks, and how to use frameworks in two different facets. One, in our prep, and then how we actually use them during the interview as well. If you like my content, please like. If you have any comments, please comment below. And if you like my overall content, please subscribe. So item one, the what. And I want to give a quick shout out to mbopartners.com because this is the definition that they offer on their webpage. So let's go through this definition. Frameworks are useful tools that help you analyze the issue, structure your thinking, and communicate recommendations. Business frameworks can also help you articulate goals with strong business writing and develop a blueprint for success. You can also take a broader conceptual framework and scale it to fit your needs. So I want to break down 6 of the concepts that I highlighted from this great definition. So useful tools. The framework is quite literally equipping us with the information we need to answer the question. If we're looking at analyzing the issue, the framework is a high-level analysis before assumptions and solutions. Structure your thinking. The framework is going to bring structure to your answer, and structure is definitely and absolutely more important than our words. Communicate recommendations. Simply put, the framework is going to help you suggest and recommend interesting items to cover before diving in and discussing the solution. The blueprint for success. The blueprint. It's a plan. So we create this plan, we set up this plan before the interview, and then scale it to fit your needs. The framework should be unique to you. This should be built off of your skills, your strengths, and the needs of the role. Item 2, the why. And so 3 items that I mentioned in all my coaching across the board are structure, organization, and level of detail. And the framework sets the foundation, meaning that's setting the structure. It helps keep you organized, and ultimately it's preparing your interviewer for the details that you are going to provide in the solution. And it's kind of one of these I know my stuff moments, meaning the goal is not to talk at a high level about a lot of concepts. The goal is to set the stage and set the tone for your solution and talk about one important concept at a time. It's a really important pause moment. If we try and cover a lot of topics, a lot of concepts in our solutions, we're not going to have success in the interview. So we're going to build off of one of those framework concepts. Item 3, the when. Frameworks should always be delivered right after your clarifying questions, never earlier, never later. And it's also very important to note, no assumptions before our framework, because what we're trying to uncover in both our clarifying questions and framework is we're hoping that our interviewer, Sue, gives us some direction, some guidance. And so making assumptions before then, it's just not going to provide a lot of value for us. So just something to strongly keep in mind. So let's get into the 2 big sections, which is item 4. Let's start with the how, the prep. So let's discuss the prep. First thing you want to do is you really want to start to assess and understand the key skills that you've utilized in the past to be successful in your job. Then just assess your overall kind of more generic skill set. And then lastly, I want you to kind of determine the high level skills, the needs of the specific role that you're interviewing for, or types of roles that you're likely to interview for. You're going to find themes. You're going to find concepts that come up again and again, and those are going to be the ones you're going to want to focus on in your frameworks. Secondly, you're going to want to look at some existing consulting frameworks. This will just give you an idea. They're probably not going to be the best for you, but it will show you foundationally how they set them up. Third, I'm going to pin a card up above, and in that card it will have a link to my PM framework video. I think that's going to help you as well. Watch that one. And then fourth, I want you to create a few, no more than a few. The goal is not to have 10 frameworks. The goal is to have a few very simplistic one. Now, I do want you to start with slightly larger frameworks. Think in the kind of 5 to 10 items, 10 concepts bucket. But the reason why we're going to create slightly bigger frameworks is because in the interview we can throw away concepts. So if we have a few more to build on, it can be really, really helpful. And so specifically, the ones I'm going to want you to focus on are, one's going to be more operational, like the framework that I've created in that PM 101 video, which is going to be more focused on high-level process, strategy. It could even be relationship-based. Then for those interviewing for more technical roles, you're going to want a more technical framework. And then lastly, there's always this like collaborative trust framework. I think that one can be really helpful as well. And I pasted a few sample frameworks in the YouTube description below that I hope will help you. Lastly is just remembering the mnemonic. And the mnemonic is we create a framework that creates a word that's really easy to remember. That's hard to do, but make the pattern of that lettering really, really easy to remember. That is going to provide tremendous value for you. Item 5, the how, the delivery component. Okay, so how you deliver the framework is probably as important as any concept. Really, the words you use don't matter that much, but the delivery of it is going to be critical. So you can begin the framework with, we've clarified our questions, we've paused, we've checked in with our interviewer, Sue, and then the transition is, Sue, a few concepts I would like to focus on, some items I might want to consider, critical ideas we should explore are, etc. So you're really setting the stage that you're going to talk about some high-level concepts, some high-level items, then you present the concepts at a high level. The additional ideas that expand on these concepts don't provide value. We are going to add on later on, specifically in our solution. So why? It's just, I've seen my clients do this time and time again. And when we talk about these concepts, we try and add in filler words, and the fillers don't really help us have success. So again, think 30 to 40 seconds. And so let's say I got any open-ended question. This is how the delivery of the framework for my PM 101 framework would sound. Okay, Sue, the areas that I'd like to focus on are goals and objectives. I always want to be looking at the historical data. I want to definitely look at budget, timeline, and how we're resourced internally and externally. I want to look at risk. I want to think and understand the overall scope and scale. Definitely understand the critical stakeholders and SMEs and really work towards that shared vision. Then the transition is one of two transitions. We can give a softer transition of, Sue, based off of those concepts that I mentioned, is there any area that you'd like to focus on? Or, and a little bit better approach would be to guide Sue a little bit, which is to say, Sue, I think we should focus on risk. But what area do you care the most about? Is there an area that you want me to focus on? And this isn't really a soft approach, it's a collaborative approach. We are making sure that we are building connectivity with our interviewer, and a critical mistake that I see is we don't guide them, we just introduce the framework and expect them to jump in. Don't. You have to be guiding them throughout. The last piece is we have to be nimble and flexible with our framework. So if you've read some case study books, if you've seen like Steven from Exponent, they talk about not getting locked in on a framework. And I totally agree with that guidance. The framework is our safety net. These are the concepts, these are the ideas that we understand and know, and we are going to utilize them when we need them. They're going to keep us structured and organized. But we also know and need to know when to back off a little bit, when to be flexible, when to adapt to the question, etc. So Don't get too rigid here. Really understand the power of frameworks, and there's a ton of power in them, but we can't get super locked into the same one every single time. I really hope this video helps. Frameworks are confusing, and I hear it from my clients time and time again, but if you can follow these simple concepts, you'll have great success. In the next few weeks, maybe this week, we are going to be introducing a free course on practiceinterviews.com, totally free, that is going to diagram out how to work on some of these concepts, and we're hoping that that visual will really, really help you. Good luck. Thanks.